Hello everyone, I'm Camro, and today I have a Q&A for you all. So I said this yesterday, I've probably not given it enough time, but there's 16 comments here, so I think that's enough. Apologies if there's any noise, because there's people working downstairs, but I've got free time, so I'm gonna give it a go and try and answer all your questions. There's a lot of good questions here. So yeah, I'm hyped. Let's go. Okay, so first question comes from Jacob YTPXD, and he's asking 3 questions which are pretty simple. How long have you been doing YouTube? So I've been doing YouTube since April 2019, but I started my first channel December of the previous year, but I didn't use it for videos until April. So my first video, I believe, was on April Fool's Day. This is on another channel, by the way. This was on my first channel. The channel you're looking at was my second channel that I ever made. My first channel had my first YTP in it on April 1st, 2019, and it was shite. How long have you been doing YTPs? That kind of is the same question, I suppose. So I think following on from that, I would be answering the question from Jim Bob. His first question is, what non-linear editor do you currently use, and have you used a different one in the past? And this would answer Jacob YTPXD's last question as well. So I use DaVinci Resolve 19, I think it's 19, but I also use CapCut a little bit, CapCut for the PC, because it can do some really cool special effects and transitions that Resolve can't, or at least I've not figured out how to do it on Resolve yet, but Resolve has a very vast amount of capabilities. So I probably would be able to do everything I wanted on Resolve, but I'm a bit lazy, so CapCut comes in handy too, because a lot of it's automated, if you know what I mean. What else do I use? Sometimes I'll use Audacity for audio, because I cannot get my head around DaVinci Resolve's audio. But no, usually it's DaVinci and CapCut, that's all I need for a YTP. If you're wondering about the Try Not to Laughs, I also use Resolve for that as well. In terms of editors I used in the past, my first few YTPs were done on Wondershare Filmora. If you don't know what that was kind of the one that everyone flocked to, everyone who had a PC. People who had mobile were always KineMaster. If you had a PC, you'd always go to Filmora for people who didn't want to spend money on editors. And Filmora was dog shit. It had this massive watermark, like around here, this area. It would say made with Wondershare Filmora free plan. I had a way of bypassing it, which was highly inefficient, but it worked until they updated it to number 10 or whatever, and then I had to flock to DaVinci Resolve, which I'd already had, but I didn't like it when I first got it, which I should have just jumped into it straight away, but I was kind of forced in a way to start using Resolve, and I actually started to like it, and I've never looked back. Second question from Jim Bob is, who inspired you when you first started making YTPs and your style of editing? I don't think anyone inspired me when I started, because, as I said, my YTPs were terrible. So I very much doubt I had any inspiration at all. It would probably have been anything that came into my head I would have put in, and it wasn't much. Later on though, you know who I really like in terms of editing is Umbra Lupin, because he makes callbacks to jokes, which is really what I thrive off of as well. It's a sort of never let them know your next move. So in the build up to something, people are going to expect maybe this sort of edit, but then you just hit them with a completely different one, and that sometimes, or most of the time, makes it funnier. I think might have put in my about section before. I'll have removed this now, but I used to say Umbra Lupin was a big inspiration. Boundless as well, because he's a fantastic editor. He sort of matches that a little bit as well. And Flying Kitty. Is this mic close enough? Is it close enough? I don't know. Hopefully it is. Last question from Jim Bob is, have you ever considered making YTPMVs? I think like most other creators of YTPs, yes, I have. I can't get past the melody and maybe a beat. I'm doing it on Resolve, okay? I'm not gonna get very far. I've tried FL Studio before. I'm not used to audio. I'm much more used to video. So I prefer to stick to that. But YTPMVs are amazing. I love them, and I can certainly see why there's a huge following. Moving on from YTPs a little bit, the next question comes from Windows 7 XP. He says, since you and I are petrol heads, my question is, if you had the ability to kill off a brand and resurrect another, no matter Euro, JDM or USDM, which ones would it be? Now, I'm probably not going to give you the answer you might expect because I'm from the UK. There are 3 big companies I would probably kill off. And unfortunately, they're all Chinese. But that's just the way it is. I don't like SAIC Motor. I don't like Geely. And I guess I don't like BYD either. I would kill them all off. By doing that, they would all have to sell their subsidiaries, which is like Rover, MG, Volvo, I think, for Geely, and hopefully they would all go into better ownership. I'm trying not to sound like I hate the Chinese, and I don't. Some of their older cars were great. I wish they came over to the UK, but just now, they are horrible. The depreciation is insane. So yeah, I would want these brands kind of killed off and then selling all their subsidiaries. That's what I would do. So what have I done here? I've killed 3, which I assume is okay because at the end of your sentence you said, which ones would it be? So then I have to bring 3 back. Well, that would probably be Daewoo because they were proper budget, unlike some of the Chinese cars you see today. And then probably Saab because in the same way as Daewoo, if they got given a chance without GM in their way, they probably would have killed it. You know, they went bankrupt because of GM. Absolutely. And if they got given a second chance, they would be making some of the best cars today. And then it's hard to think of anything else because not many other companies have gone bankrupt, have they? I would probably say Talbot. They probably wouldn't survive very long, but for old time's sake, I'd say Talbot. If you're interested, I do have social media accounts dedicated to cars. That is on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube now. I'm going to start putting content on YouTube too. Forgotten Cars UK, if you're interested. I know a lot of you US folk probably wouldn't be, but it is dedicated to cars that really no one knows about and is just very obscure. And that's been up my street for years. I've really enjoyed making stuff to do with that. Instagram is all car spots. YouTube and TikTok will be video-based content. So please go and check that out. I will link them in the description. Alfie Back At It wants to know, do you like football? If so, what team do you support? I'm sorry, I'm not really a sporty person and I never have been. Probably is more obvious now because I'm a big fat bastard, but I've never really been a sport guy and football, not really my thing. When I was younger, yeah, I used to collect match attacks and I had FIFA 15 on my 3DS and things like that, but I never got into it past that. And I know that sounds strange because so many British people are crazy about it, but it's not really my thing. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm so different sort of thing. I was never brought up that way. So I sort of got to make the decision, am I going to be into this or not? And no, it never really happened. Okay, so now I should probably address the elephant in the comments section and answer some questions regarding the Try Not to Laugh challenges. Now, I think the first one I was going to tackle was from Yin Yang YT, and he's asking, what inspired you to make the Try Not to Laugh compilations? So that's a very good question. I saw Fresh Cut Slim's announcement video about an hour or so into it being uploaded, and I had a look at what was on the subreddit, and I thought, man, only about 1 of every 3 or 4 are actually funny. Or not necessarily that they're funny, it's just suitable for the Try Not to Laugh. And the other ones are probably going to be missed out. And it was in my mind that if Slim was going to try to tackle this himself and sort of every week or every fortnight he'd be going through the subreddit and having to skip over a bunch. It would just be very draining for him, and he would probably give up after a while, which I didn't want to see that happen, because try not to laugh challenges are very fun to watch. So that's when I just offered to do it for him. It was always in my mind that I would do it as a video compilation. It works out for the best that every week I bring all these clips in and put them in a video, and then he can react to it all in one go. Obviously you're asking about what inspired you. I haven't done any of this before. I think it was a decision more than an inspiration. Talking about Fresh Cut Slim, we also have a question from the man himself, which I wasn't expecting. Because of how popular the sub is getting, and with how many clips are uploaded, what's your process that decides what clips you are putting in a challenge? So I believe you're asking about how do I go about getting the clips in the first place. So I'll check the subreddit every day or two, probably every day. And I just right click on the clips, because I'm on desktop. I'm able to right click on the clips and download them directly into a folder. Every Try Not to Laugh has its own folder within a folder that I just decided to call FCS. So yeah, I will download each clip individually and I will name it the user tag of the person who submitted it, so I know what to put in the video. It works really well that way, and if there's multiple clips, I'll just label it 2, 3, 4, that sort of thing. And in that folder, I'll also have, each week's intro, and then the actual Try Not to Laugh challenge will be outputted into its own folder as well. I hope that answers your question, Slim. In terms of deciding, that's based off of, does it follow the rules, is it funny, sort of thing, which would also answer this guy's question. Where is it now? Underdog Edward McFly also said, what kind of videos do you look for in the Try Not to Laugh challenge and why? Well, yeah, I am basically looking for clips that I think, I'm trying to use the best judgment possible, would make Fresh Cut Slim laugh and make it challenging for him not to laugh. I've noticed that usually that is unexpected things rather than a constant sort of, if I slipped a comedy clip in there and it was sort of funny the whole way through, for a Try Not to Laugh challenge, I believe even being only a minute long, it would get boring. So a lot of perfect cuts and things like that make their way into the challenge. People will often submit things that are funny to a certain community, but with no context whatsoever, you're not necessarily going to get it. And I do discourage this. Don't send in things from a specific show or from a specific YouTuber that you want Fresh Cut Slim to be aware of. Man, I'm yapping so much here, but I think you get the gist of it. Stuff that's funny without needing much context is the way to go. Next question comes from Ricky Dicky Doodah. What is that name? His username is Rizalette. How long does it take you to compile the Try Not to Laugh challenges? Are there any difficulties when attempting to make them? So usually, I'll have downloaded the clips throughout the week, and when I make a start, I've already got the intro rendered because I have made up to number 52, which is probably wishful thinking, but I just did it because it saves me time. So every intro up to number 52 is already rendered, so I don't have to worry about that. I just throw that in first, make sure I've got the right resolution settings, throw in all the clips, and I really enjoy doing this because I can be quite creative with it. Perfectly cut clips need to have the following clip doesn't start right away. So I can't have a perfect cut clip and then the next clip starts with talking or a lot of noise. You need to give a bit of time for the perfect cut to be processed in that next clip. So a second of silence is ideal. Things like that. That's the tricky part. getting that right. You've got to scan through a bunch of clips to see which one suits in that regard. And if I've got a lot of clips from someone, I can't obviously put them all back to back. So I've got to sort of space it out a wee bit. Sometimes that ends up being me. A lot of the time that ends up being Windows. In the past it was classic usual and Beast Creative. I remember so many people's user tags because I write them out all the time. It's actually insane. But yeah, back on topic, the difficult part is choosing where the clips go and also choosing what clip is going to end it, because you need something that will do for an outro. I can't just end it off with, the last clip is the end. I've got to have a thanks for watching or something like that to let you know it's over. And that's the tricky part. Rendering takes about 30 minutes usually. It's not that bad. Uploading on YouTube will take another 15 or 20. That's another hard part actually. If I get a copyrighted music. If I get I think it was number 27, I got hit with 6 and 2 of them were telling me that it couldn't be viewed in a specific country. So I was like, I'm gonna have to render this again. And I had to delay it another day. Oh man, that was just it was insane. But yeah, in terms of that, I really enjoy doing these. It's not very difficult at all. And I'm looking forward to making hopefully many more. Now, next question comes from Oddman. How did you get so connected with Slim that you made Try Not to Laugh? It really is quite simple. I reached out to him in the comment section of his announcement. I said, hey, I think if you tried doing this, you would exhaust yourself. So I'll give it a go. And I kind of forgot about it until he messaged me about a week later saying, hey, you able to do this tomorrow? And said, yeah, why not? So ever since then, I've just been doing them. It doesn't get much more interesting than that. Okay, so I think that is the Try Not Laugh questions over. Next question comes from I'm silly. It's Low Pineapple. Hello, Low Pineapple. Oh my goodness gracious, is that the camera? Anyways, my question is, do you or have you played any games? If so, what are your favourites? I'm currently being insane about COD Mobile right now. LMAO. I'm not really much of a gamer. I sound like a complete, utter boring tool just now. I don't play sport, I don't do gaming. But what can I say? I'm a student, I'm busy, okay? Don't get me wrong, I have played games before. My family was very much raised on Nintendo. I had a DSi, I had a 3DS, was broke, and then I had to get a 2DS. And then we got a Switch, that was amazing. I've played a lot of Switch games, mostly franchise. I don't really branch out to anything like COD or anything. But yeah, I've got my laptop here. I don't play anything on the laptop. I've got 3D Pinball Space Cadet, but that's about it. In the past, I was on my Nintendo sort of DS systems all the time. Playing the likes of, I am insane at Mario Kart. I could beat you all at Mario Kart. Yeah, I was sort of a Mario Sonic sort of vanilla kid. It's actually insane that I didn't branch out to that as a sort of fanboy in one of my YouTube channels, and I'm just Camero. But I was really into that for a while. Nowadays, I have other ways to waste my time. Okay, a couple of quick fire questions here because my phone is almost running out of storage and I'm going to have to switch to the SD card. This one's from Fox Tabor Q&A. Do you have a Discord? I do, but I'm not going to give it out because if you added me, I wouldn't add you back. I don't really use it much. I'm on a few channels. What do you call them? My brain is having a farting moment right now. I'm on a few servers. But I don't use it as much as I would use this or TikTok or Instagram or things like that. And then a really random one from Jimmy1254. What is your favorite Mexican food? Sorry if you're Mexican for laughing. It's a very specific one. I haven't had much Mexican food. I think I went to Taco Bell once and had a burrito. So let's just say that, okay? It was very nice. And then, if we weren't already specific enough, we are now really getting specific. This is from Disney Daniel. What is your favorite Disney character? It's a good question, to be fair. It's a really good question. I enjoyed Big Hero 6. I remember watching that years ago and really liking it, and I've watched it a lot more since. So let's just say Baymax. I really like Baymax. He's a robot. He doesn't know what he's doing. Speaking of robots, I also like WALL-E actually. WALL-E's a great character. And a great film. Okay, so I've just switched to SD card, which I probably should have done in the first place, to answer the final question from Me and You Productions. I have two questions actually. Since you and I both use the same video editing software, do you have any tips, tricks or advice on what I can do to improve my editing and make better YTPs? I am always looking to improve, and since you use the exact same editing software, I figured I'd ask. My best advice: tutorials are amazing. They're everywhere as well. Like when I first downloaded DaVinci Resolve, I was expecting no one would know about it, but going on YouTube, you just search how to do this on DaVinci Resolve. It's everywhere. So many creators have covered it, and it really gets you going. Now, I should probably practice what I preach there because I don't really experiment much. I prefer to stick to what I already know. But if you're looking to improve, then definitely watch tutorials. They are OP. My editing style, I've already said, is making callbacks to jokes and never let them know your next move. I've noticed you specifically, you will often carry on with the, I don't know what it is it Vigil AI? It was funny, but you have to move on, you know? And if you kept doing that, it would, after a while, start having less and less humour to it. So try new things. Don't be scared to try new things. Definitely, that's where the creative side comes in. Being creative in YTPs is everything. I hope that didn't sound harsh, but I really mean it. Just try new things. Be creative. Second question from him is, what inspired you to make YTPs? I know it's a basic question, but I'm always interested in seeing what inspired a YTP creator to start making their own YTPs. That would go back to what I've said before. My main inspiration was probably Umbra Lupin, although it took me a while to actually find out who he was. I watched Boundless a lot, still enjoy what Boundless makes. It feels very surreal and things like that, and Flying Kitty too. When I started, I was a clean YTPer, so I didn't take much inspiration off the people who were making really messed up shit, but almost every YTP I watched, I found it really funny. So I probably took a little bit out of everyone's book. So if you're looking for advice on that, just do that. Take a page out of everyone's book. Don't copy things. That's a no-no. But see how you can integrate a joke in a different sense. Things like that. Your YTPs are already great, but if you want to improve, definitely just have a look around. Even YTPs with sources you don't really like, just watch them, because someone might do something in a way that you thought, I've not done that before, and then see what you can do with that same joke integrated in a different way, and you'll start to see great results from that. Anyway, that's all for this video. My phone is boiling hot just now, but we're done and I'm happy. So thank you for all your questions, really good questions, and I will see you all in the next Try Not to Laugh challenge. Bye bye.